Right. 25 October 2025. And today I'm excited to be giving you a brief overview of some of the things that we plan to do in the Nkulumane constituency. So once in a while, I'm going to come here and take you through the plans for the Nkulumane constituency, where I'm going to contest in the by-elections. So Nkulumane is one of the biggest, most organized suburbs or high-density suburbs in Bulawayo. So if you look at the main shopping center of Nkulumane, you're going to see that this is what it looks like. So these shops were built in 1980 when the new government came into power. There was no Nkulumane suburb. And one of the first few places to be built includes these shops that you're seeing here. They've been looking like this since 1980. And the shop that you're looking at right now has not changed, or this complex has not changed, particularly since the time when it began. And you can see that it is, the houses look the same. This is how it looks like. You've got a big church here, and the houses look the way that they looked at that time. So the war veterans of Zimbabwe, of ZAPU, built this shop that you're seeing in the corner here in 1980. It was called Sekusile. It was a cooperative by the war veterans. And then Old Mutual came and built a complex. So there's a Kulmani complex, which is quite big. It's got a lot of shops. And this is what it looks like here. So this is the biggest feature of this suburb, Nkulumane complex. That is the shops that are here. Business is very low. However, there are some places which are quite promising, like Lengara here, which has got some nice houses, big houses. And then you've got the post office, which is the main feature, where this is one of the first official informal places that were built in Nkulumane. When the suburb started, the dairy board of Zimbabwe opened some sort of work or place where they did work, but they've since abandoned. So they've since abandoned the place where they were working, and currently there is not a single company in Nkulumane. So there are no companies in the constituency. So what I'm talking about here is dairy board here, which is the milk processing and distribution used to take place at this place here in Nkulumane. So as a constituency, Nkulumane is not a wealthy constituency, and the only thing that happens here is people go to whatever they're doing, to work, to sell. So people sell. If you go to the constituency, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see people selling tomatoes and onions and all that kind of vegetables on the floor this way, just like any other suburb in Bulawayo and around. So if you go to all the suburbs like Mzilikazi, Nketa, all the suburbs, Shabalala, you're going to see people with their produce on the ground. So as I said, these shops, what you're seeing here, this is the most biggest development you can ever see in Kulmani, besides the complex which is owned by Old Mutual here. So looking at it, you can clearly see that if you're a young person, you will never get a job here. So there's no way that you can get a job in the suburb. There's no way that you can get connectivity. And if you fail to find a job in town, you will not get a job anyway. So what is required in this constituency is a new kind of MP. So you need an MP to provide leadership. And the leadership I'm talking about here is turning this place from a general living suburb of the past to a city. So the strategy that we have is to eventually turn Kulmani into a city. And we do have a strategy. I have a strategy, but as an MP, a period when an MP is short. So there must be a bigger vision of what needs to be done in the constituency. And this is where the Nkulumane Development Committee and Kulmani as a city is going to play a big part. So one of the things that I'm going to do here is to establish a committee to develop Kulmani from a suburb to a city. We want Kulmani to have a CBD and become a city. We want Kulmani to have houses, multiple flats, high-rise buildings, and that plan needs to be done. It needs to be drawn up, and eventually you should be able to get a job in Kulmani. So you ask me how do you do that? Why is it that all the other MPs in the past have not been able to do it? The answer is simple. There's need to shift the thinking, and you are aware that Gambakwe has got a presidential campaign coming in 2028. So this will be the first place where we're going to test the ideas of how to create a city where people now make money in the constituency. For example, how do we get accommodation to be built up, not as little houses, the way that these things were built in the past? How do we change this way of building to a way where you have malls, high-rise buildings, and where there is economic activity? I'm not talking about this here. I'm talking about economic activity. A young person, a person who just finished university, a person that finished school, how do you become employed in your suburb? And there's a lot of opportunities here. You can see that when they built this suburb, it was not meant to be inclusive. You get your house, and that's it. You get somewhere to stay, and that's it. So what we want to do is we want to create a committee, and that is the first thing we're going to do. We're going to create a development committee, and then we're going to start developing a set of businesses, and we're going to generate revenue. So our focus is to generate revenue and then work on a CBD. So we want Kulmani to have a CBD, and that is going to be done. We're going to draw up the plans, and it will live beyond my own time as an MP. It will live beyond my own time. We want to create something. And some of the income generation project we're going to do is we're going to go into mining. As a constituency, we're going to create a company for the constituency. We're going to go into mining. We're going to bring together young people. We're going to go into energy. We're going to go into technology. So we want every single place in Kulmani to be connected. So we want you to be able to go to a hotspot anywhere you are. And we want this type of building to be the past. We don't want a building like this as your main shopping center. So this is the main shopping center of Kulmani. It's embarrassing that we got such a main shopping center like this. And as a boy, I used to go to this same place and buy. We don't want such a place in Kulmani. We want the place to look beautiful. We want it to be a town center. And we want the young people of this constituency to do well. So we're going to create a development committee. We're going to register a company, which is obviously a community company. And we're going to develop a lot, this constituency. As I said, we're eventually going to start giving you the visual description of what the constituency should look like. That is from the business side. So in terms of what we're doing, we're talking of green spaces, we're talking of real estate. How do we use the income registered or generated by the development committee to redesign the suburb and create real estate and start giving people accommodation within the suburb? So how do we recreate the suburb into a city, unlike what it is right now, which is just the way it was? In 1980, when they put it here, nothing has changed. If you walked here, the same way it looked, that is what it looks like now. And therefore, we need a committee which is going to redesign the suburb, especially with business in mind. How do we make this a business so that people can start generating income, so that the children can work? And the first number of jobs we want to create is 5,000 jobs. So that is the target, and I'll break it down. How we're going to create the 5,000 jobs. I'm not talking about selling tomatoes. I'm talking about proper businesses. How to create a mall? How to create real estate? Looking at the number of people in Kulmani. Kulmani starts at Kulmani 5, and it goes all the way to Kulmani 16. So there are 11 suburbs of about 1,000 houses each, or groups of housing. So let's say there are 15,000 to 20,000 houses in that Nkulumane. If you say Nkulumane 5 to Nkulumane 16, Nkulumane 17, whatever how far they've gone so far. I remember they went to 16. Let's say there are 15,000 houses. How do we get the families who are there to eventually graduate into the CBD of Nkulumane? So the plan which we have is to create a CBD, a central business district, move away from the setup where all you have is these little shops that have been there since the past. So we want to develop Nkulumane, have a business focus, and change the way we look at this thing. We want to have restaurants, we want to have malls, we want to have innovation centers, we want to have green spaces. So that someone can go out, and if they are a child or a student or they're in school, they're able to gain employment within the constituency. And that is through the companies. As I said, we're going to create a company, and that company will start working on these things that I'm talking about. That is from a business perspective, with the idea that within the next 5 years, Nkulumane should have a CBD or a central business district, not this. So when you look at Sekusile, we don't want such a business district where you cannot do anything except to buy a sweet or some milk or some bread and then go home. We want a proper CBD where you can go and do business. So at the moment that is not available, people have been building for markets. So you look at the whole of Nkulumane, it's been like this ever since I was a boy. The Nkulumane Hall has always been like this, and this needs to be improved. We need to make a big improvement in this suburb. Right, I think it's clear. What we want to do is to work with the community and to change everything that is in place so that we're focusing on development, on business, on employment creation, and on the creation of a CBD in a short space of time. So this can be done very quickly through the income generation projects and through the community companies that we're going to develop and set up. So we are going to say, so who's going to be the owner of the company? Who's going to be the board? All this is what we're going to work on as part of the campaign for Nkulumane. I think I've covered it. I don't want to talk too much. Let's look at the comments. MP for Gambakwe President, what a good question. So we said yesterday that as part of the roadmap, Gambakwe is going to go into becoming MP until the elections in 2028. And then after that, obviously, being in the parliament will enable me to build the relationships for the presidential campaign. What is the CBD, Central Business District? There's no space. Don't worry, Samuel, there is space. The way we're going to do it is such that we can build thousands and thousands of houses. There's a lot of space in Kulmani where you can build. The biggest problem we have in Kulmani is that it's built like a, what can I say? The people who build it, they do not build for you to do anything except to live there. And we need to reimagine. So we're going to go and do a survey. Obviously, not me alone. This is going to be done by a lot of people. There is a lot of people who are qualified, who are currently in the constituency. We're going to map the whole suburb. and we're going to draw out the CBD. But before we have the committee in place, when I get on the ground, we're going to do it for you. We're going to map out a suburb for you. It's very easy to do. The way that you build in Zimbabwe is different, and the way that space is available. So let me give you an example. If you go to the Heroes Acre of Nkulumane, right? Kulmani is for the Heroes Acre. Where did I put the Heroes Acre? Over here. Do you see how much space is behind this mountain? Have you ever gone to this area after the police station? There is so much land between the Kulmani complex all the way back. I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but you can correct me. There is so much land in the hill or in the mountain which is not utilized. It was just too difficult to build there, so they just left it there. I'm just giving an example. It's possible to find land for a CBD. You don't want a big disorganized CBD. You want a space which will allow you to build. It's possible. And also, we're going to build flats, high-rise flats over here, where our committee is going to generate income, and it will provide accommodation and also rent it out. It will also be part of the assets of the committee or real estate. We're going to go into mining. We're going to create a mining company with the community and make use of our proximity to areas like Bubi to go and mine over there and create revenue. People who were MPs in the past, they never lived here. They never came here. All they did was to wait for Monday, go to Harare, and then on Friday they come back. We want people in the constituency to own it. And especially with gold mining, we'll be able to go into gold mining. Matabeleland is full of gold. So we're going to go into gold mining. We're going to create a company here. The Nkulumane Development Committee will create a company which will generate income. We're going to go into energy. As you are aware, ZESA, the old ZESA, I think, has allowed the generation of energy. So you can now generate energy and sell it. We're going to create an energy company using some of the money that we have, which is going to come from gold mining. It's going to be easy. We're also going to be able to go to partners. If you've got a plan, you've got a blueprint, you're going to be able to go to partners and say, this is what we've planned to do. Come into our suburb and invest. But we certainly won't have this. This is what it is right now. It's looking like this, and it's looking bad. But look at the area behind the GMB. If you've ever been to the area behind the GMB, that side on the left, I believe that that's still part of the constituency. I need to see the actual boundaries, how it looks. I don't know if that road that we have in front of the complex is actually the divider of the constituency. So depending on how the constituency is laid out, there'll be a lot that can be done. But the simple fact I'm making here is you can't continue to have a constituency where no one can work, where there's no job. There are, let's say in Kulmani, with 15,000 homes and 5 people in each home, we've got between 200 and 300,000 people living in Kulmani right now. Because our voters, normally people who voted there are around 45,000 on a full-fledged election. So in a by-election, we're looking to pull out at least 10,000 people or under 10,000 people. So with the 200,000 people in the constituency, able-bodied people, not children, you'll be able to do a lot. And that is what we need to do. We need to find a way of turning these big numbers into a commerce or commercial activity. So we shouldn't have a constituency where if you go to the complex, there are 4 or 5 people there, and there's 1 or 2 shops there, and there's not much happening. So we need to change how things work. We also need to take up the vision of the war veterans. When they built this shop, the war veterans came together and created a shop, one of the biggest shops. I think there was a spa here at one point. So people in our community were just buying. They were customers, but we want to turn them into owners, people who are producing and people who are working in this community. This is dehumanizing. The way that the Kulmani has been set up, it's dehumanizing. When you look at it, this is not how people should live. and we need to change it. You need an MP that is going to bring a business focus. When a young person comes into this constituency, we're going to clean it up, we're going to make it amazing, and obviously we're going to work with the council. So the council is a major stakeholder. And as I said, we believe that we can create a CBD, Kulmani Central Business District, where there will be commercial activities. We push out commercial activities, business, offices, new type of residential complexes, and also an innovation center where young people can come together and create business. So that is my focus. That is how we're going to do it. And I know that it's possible to do it because I grew up here and we're able to do this thing. I was able to come out of a place like this and become international. So our company is international. Your plan is for Vision 2075, and I don't think it'll still be allowed. Yes, you're true. You're right. That's why we're forming a company, a community company. It's not for the MP. Ever since there was MPs in Kulmani, each person has been working on their own. You can correct me, but I don't think there's a company which has ever created anything, which has ever provided services, which has ever provided jobs, hotspots, which has ever created a mining company. That is because each person comes with their own agenda. Some people have never seen the MP. They don't know who the MP is. They only hear we got an MP, but you can pass him here, you don't know him. Remember some of the people who were MPs in this constituency. If I'm not mistaken, Dabengo was an MP here. Let me see if Dabengo was Nkulumane MP. So I think in the very beginning, he was a candidate for the House of Assembly for Kulmani. Right, I think this is way back. I don't think he won this constituency. But in 1990, Nkulumane, he had 15,400 votes here. So that is Dabengo. So he was also a member of the Zimbabwe African National Congress, ZANU-PF. And as I'm saying, now you've got a different approach. You need an MP that you are able to see who is vibrant, who is able to change the community. Please don't listen to this self-serving, deluded Gambakwe. Yes, Nathaniel, don't listen. You must stay not listening. Is Bulawayo country, anybody Zimbabwe, whether Shona Ndebele has a right to contest at any place, Zimbabwe is for Zimbabwe. Yes, I don't know what we're talking about here, but there's no better. The master plan is for a residential area, yes. And then after MP, I think we've covered everything here that I needed. This dilapidated shop is because ZANU-PF has delivered Sandline Material as a whole. That's not true. So ZANU-PF is not responsible for what happens in your suburb, in your constituency. ZANU-PF as a party is a contestant. So they contest and you vote. If you don't vote for your MP that is with a plan, you are going to struggle and suffer. So that is where we need to get our MPs and look at them before we vote for them. So for example, when you voted for your last 3 MPs, what were you voting for? Did you hear what they said? What was their manifesto? Those are the kind of things that we need to talk about. When you vote for an MP, for a councillor, who is the councillor of Kulmani? What have they done for you? Have you ever seen them? And how do they interact with the community? Those are the things that you need to know. So with the true leadership, you are going to become part and be included. So when I say there are Glengara houses, so let me show you Glengara houses. You are passing through Glengara and say, who built these houses? Who built in Glengara? How did it end up there? So those are the kind of things that you may not know. Why is Derrybot closed? Who is owning Derrybot right now? Who owns that land where Derrybot is built? Most of you don't know. And those are the things that your MP should be able to explain to you. And then what else can we do? So where there is Derrybot there, what can we build here? It's not the MP's job to say. There are probably people who know better than the MP. The MP's job is to come up with a plan. What is this thing here? How did it end up there? And when you go to Munyoro, right? I know that most of you have seen Mnyoro. How did that little corner end up there where Mnyoro is? And the questions can go on and on. The schools that we have, how did those schools end up there? What did they save? How did they save us? What happens to the children who are studying in these schools? And do they ever come back? Why are they not coming back? Where do they go? It's very interesting to know these kind of things. And if you look at the kind of comments taking place in Zimbabwe, you can clearly see in Kulmani that there's not much taking place. Let me show you some pictures that were grabbed by a friend. So there is people selling at their houses over here. How much money do they make a day? Who buys here? Why do people buy in a place like this? And what else can we do? So when you look at a constituency, you don't just look at the constituency in general. You need a leader that is going to bring you and include you. You have to be part of it, especially if you are young and you're not working. How did Gambakwe, who used to stay at Nkulumane, end up going international and forming a company, a media house with many, many people following him every day? And how many other people are coming from our suburb who are like that? How can we make use of them? And if we create a CBD, what will it look like? And where will it be? So these kind of things are the skills that we have. We're capable of doing it. And in the next 3 years, you are going to see a constituency like you've never seen before. And you cannot just vote emotionally to say, I'm going to vote for that guy because I like the way he looks. Or I'm going to vote for that guy, I don't like the other one. You have to vote for someone with a plan. That is what we want to do. And that is the plan for Nkulumane. So I would like to thank all of you for watching. We have a long journey ahead of us. If you work with me, you are going to do well. One thing we cannot allow is ZANU-PF to ever become the MP. We don't want a ZANU-PF MP in Kulmani. It will never happen. They're going to lose so badly. And we're going to talk to everyone to endorse Gambakwe so that Gambakwe can be the MP from Kulmani. And then you have an MP that you see every day. You have the Nkulumane Development Committee. You have a company. We're going to have gold mining. We're going to have energy. We're going to have water. Kulmani has got a certain smell. And all of you, you know what I'm talking about. The sewage pipes of our suburb, especially if you drive around Mnyoro there, they're always best. And you go down to, as you go further down to Kulmani 11, 12, 13, it's almost like you're now in a different place altogether. It's like you're in a village. We want to change that. And eventually our plan is we'll be able to include you in the community, in a development. So look at the bus stop here. That is at Kulmani complex. This should never look like this. We don't want this kind of thing. And who owns this land? Is it Old Mutual? Is it the council? How is the land tenure? How is our constituent mapped? Those are the things that you want to sit down with the community leaders and say, leaders, we're leaving you with this constituency in 5 years' time. I'm personally going to be there until 2027. 2028, I'll be doing presidential campaign. In 3 years' time, we'll leave you with a company, we'll leave you with a plan, a detailed plan on how to develop the constituency. When you look at our people, they never develop things that last years and years. People like Smith, the former president of Zimbabwe, Anna Rhodes, they created what you see now. Long back, they sat down and mapped Zimbabwe. How will Zimbabwe look like in 100 years' time? We want to be able to make such plans. How will Zimbabwe look like? Or Nkulumane look like in 100 years' time? We don't want to have plans that are only for the time when you're an MP. So you remember that we've got other suburbs around us where accommodation that was built 100 years ago is still standing. If you go to areas around the next suburb, which is Pelandaba, you're going to see that they still have these flats at Pelandaba. These flats were built more than 100 years ago. If I'm not mistaken, Kulmani is 35 years old. And this place is even older. When people were visioning this thing, it was long back. And our new government has failed to change what we see. The same thing that you had when you were a child, that was visualized by someone 35 years ago, is what we still have. We need to sit down and replan our space. How do we make it the biggest city? We want people to come here and go to a hotel, go to a restaurant, or go and work, and we want you to have money. How do you have money if you're in Kulmani? How do you earn? How are you going to make money? If there's a place like Sekusile, how are you going to make money when all you do is sell tomatoes and onions? So you can't make money that way. We need to create a CBD. So that is my job, to put in place that plan for a CBD. So we want to have a central business district, and we also want to create companies, or the committee needs to have companies. So the MP is going to lead this process, and will generate income. We'll start developing that CBD and owning that real estate and renting out. So when you're renting a flat, a bachelor flat, we want you to be able to say, our committee has got these bachelor flats that we're renting. Just like the city council. If you go to city council now, there are people who are renting properties that were created by the city council of Bulawayo. Not this city council. This city council has never created anything. All they do is use what is existing. 100 years ago, someone in Bulawayo had created flats that are being rented today. So the person who was thinking 100 years ago thought something better than a guy that has got a computer, who's got AI. There was a person with a pen and a paper and a ruler who drew Bulawayo. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Someone with a pen and a paper and without a computer drew Bulawayo and put it in place. And a guy with AI, with computers, has failed to do all these things. Bulawayo is stunning, but it's got nothing. It's at the end there, it's just empty. It's a big empty space. Someone needs to change the narrative in our city and make it a successful city. But we're going to start with Nkulumane. We're going to do so well. And I hope that we don't make the mistake of voting for people that don't have a plan. So that is what I have to say about our committee, which we're going to work through. We're going to work through the Nkulumane Development Committee. And that is turning Nkulumane into a city with a CBD. That would be my job, to put in place those blueprints, working with communities. We're going to have the energy committee. We're going to have the mining committee. We're going to have the water committee. We're going to have the real estate committee, where we're going to say, we've got our young people, 200,000. We want to bring about 200 to 500,000 units or flats, or where people can live, and our suburb will be bigger. We'll be able to get levies and rates, will generate income, and develop even further. So Kulmani will look amazing. So we're going to do well. And look at this man. This is your MP. You want a real MP. You don't want someone that is just going to go there and don't know what to do. You can go and connect the right as in the Valley Nation if you want, because as a Zimbabwean, it is a right. Zimbabwe knows everyone. Don't worry about this. It doesn't matter. We're going to deal with it. So don't worry about which race people belong to and all that. It doesn't matter. There's no MP. It will be a pleasure for you guys to have an MP that is going to transform your suburb. Don't be given stories about which tribe or what tribe. That doesn't matter. Gambakwe intoxicated, you better go to Mbare for river in drugs. Yes. Samuel, you're a knowledgeable person about drugs. Do you think I created Gambakwe from scratch? Yeah, without dreaming. I have to dream. So if you don't know how to visualize, so one thing you must understand, we visualize. I see things that you can't see. Right now, when I'm sitting here, the vision that I have from Kulmani is so that this becomes the best constituency, the most visible constituency in our country. And we're communicating it. We're going to involve everyone. and it will be inclusive. We don't want to walk around and you're not part of what's happening. And what's happening must be big. We must have a big vision from Kulmani. I would like to thank all of you. So what is next? So what is next is that, and let me give you the process. So the Speaker of Parliament is going to notify, I think they notifies the President of a vacancy. And then I think the President is the one that proclaims a vacancy, or the Speaker proclaims a vacancy. I'm not sure about that process, but it's going to be happening in public. And then the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is going to have 90 days in which they have to declare or hold a by-election. So within 90 days, if you look at today is, let's say they do that by the 1st of November. So for November, December, January, it means we're going to have a date by December. At the worst case, by the end of December, we're going to have a date. So I'm going to then let you guys know, we cannot create the committee before the proclamation. So as soon as they proclaim an election date, I'm going to create the committee, the Nkulumane Development Committee. I've approached a number of people, leaders in the community, to become my campaign manager. So we want someone to become a campaign manager who is also well known in the community. So we're going to look at people. You can also suggest to me the people that we can use as my campaign manager, who's going to take care of all the campaigning. We are then going to form the Nkulumane Development Committee with all the people that are going to be working within my campaign. So this is part of my campaign. And then we're going to have a board. After we have a board, the first company we're going to work on is our mining company, especially the gold sector. We're going to find a way of going into the gold sector. And all these things will be easy to do. We're also going to have the energy. How do we create energy and water resources? How can we sell back electricity to the community? You know that we can now charge for electricity. So if we create a company, we can now supply electricity and sell it directly to homes. So we're going to start giving out, setting up that company, and we'll probably be able to meter and sell. So if we can go into solar, all those kind of things are possible. We've got enough space in the constituency to do this. And then we're going to go into water, into green spaces. How do we create the innovation center? So we're going to create an innovation center. We'll raise funds for it and create an innovation center. Then we're going to go into the plans, draw up the new city with the CBD in Kulmani. Where do we place our CBD? There's so much space. We'll be able to do it. I've said this a lot. Those are the plans that we have. So let's hear what else is out there. We don't just want someone who's going to come and say, I'm going to be MP, and they don't have that plan. It's going to be amazing. And people will come from all over the world to see the stuff that we're going to work on. And remember, this is part of a bigger vision. Our bigger vision is the Gambakwe 2028. And Gambakwe 2028, it has 160 new cities. We're going to replicate this across the whole city, across the whole country of Zimbabwe. When Gambakwe goes into the presidential campaign, we're going to do so well. And it will be inclusive. Okay, I hope you like it. And I hope that we get enough votes. We're going to get enough votes so that Gambakwe can be in parliament. I'm going to stream every day in parliament. When we start parliament, when we end parliament, Gambakwe will be the most visible MP that you've ever seen. And our parliament is beautiful. The most beautiful parliament in this region. There's no parliament as beautiful as the parliament of Zimbabwe. We need to go in here and start winning. We need to transform our country and make sure that our country works, constituency by constituency. Today we had 3 by-elections, and currently counting is taking place in these places. That is Gutu, Chimanimani, and Mangwe. So I think you understand what's going on. We are having no opposition. The opposition is not contesting, but we have decided that we're going to be contesting, starting with Nkulumane, we are going to be contesting each and every election, by-election that comes. We are going to work with everybody. We're going to get endorsements. Tomorrow, I will probably be able to announce who has endorsed us. I've approached many people in Kulmani already, the leadership, and want to get the endorsement for Gambakwe so that we don't have a division of the vote. Otherwise, ZANU-PF will win. If ZANU-PF wins the election in Kulmani, that would be the worst thing. That can never happen. We don't want it. We want the opposition to keep that seat, and we'll do so well together. Given that our city, the mayor there is already in the opposition, the mayor of Bulawayo is doing very well, probably one of the best mayors in the whole city, so in the whole country. So I think we've done well. I've explained this in detail, and I'll see you guys very soon. Whenever I get an opportunity, we will take these ideas and pack them into a brochure, and I'll start distributing this brochure. But we are going to wait for the proclamation. I'll be obviously talking about Nkulumane as we go, but not maybe in this depth because I've got other things to cover. So as we go, when the proclamation comes, the date is put in place in December, I'll then be on the ground and work on it. And then my representatives or my campaign manager is going to be more visible talking to the community, especially regarding the formation of the company, the Nkulumane Development Committee, from a suburb to a city. We want to make it a city with a CBD and do well. We also want our diaspora to come. So we've got a lot of plans for our diaspora, Kulmani diaspora, people who have left and gone to the diaspora. We don't want Kulmani to be a place where you have left. We want it to be a place where you go back and live. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'll be back here to give you the results. So as soon as the results come, if I'm still up, I'll come back here and give you the results of the by-elections. They should be up by 2300. I'll still be busy, so I'll be able to come back and give you the results of those by-elections. If not, I'll give them to you in the morning. And I'll see you very, very soon.